What You Missed When You Didn't Exist. I am Corbett, and I am 53.
And I'm Lucy, and I'm 24. Welcome back.
For those of you who've never heard us before, what You Missed When You Didn't Exist is what Lucy missed when she did not exist, and I did. So from the year 1970 to the year 2000, covering all the fun things. And this time around, Lucy, you know what you missed? Not smoking.
Wait, like people didn't smoke? Because I feel like that existed the early times.
In the last episode, we talked about The Day After, the movie The Day After.
Correct.
And the one thing I did not bring up because I thought it was kind of funny, and it's something that everybody who looks at an old movie, you always see people smoking and go, oh, well, they just smoked back then. But in The Day After, it's set in 1983, after the end of the world. And when people are struggling to find food and to fail off radiation, they all found cigarettes. I don't know where they were coming from.
Nice.
Everybody had a cigarette. Performing surgery, working on cars, pumping gas, everybody's got a cigarette somewhere. And that was just commonplace. You just accepted that everybody was smoking. And this was a time that you really can't grasp it. But there was like smoking sections in the plane, smoking sections in a restaurant. Okay, I think the plane probably sums it up more than anything else, because seriously, that's like a peeing section in a pool. Because you're in an encapsulated, pressurized cabin.
Yeah, not really anywhere for the smoke to go.
Yeah. But in a restaurant, it was really commonplace. Like, do you want smoking or non-smoking? And if you were in the non-smoking section, guess what you smelled? There was a lot of stuff that came out probably before that time, before the 70s or 60s. I mean, they were talking about like possible side effects of smoking back in the 50s. So it took a while, I think, before it really grasped a hold, until about probably the 70s or 80s is when it really kicked in. And suddenly people had to have a smoking section and a non-smoking section. So that was like the first step. You got non-smoking or smoking.
Okay.
And that probably started around the 60s. In the 50s or 60s, people brought up the point like, hey, there may be some problems with smoke. Okay. By the 70s and 80s, it started separating a little more like, okay, smoking is outside and non-smoking is inside. And pretty much by the 90s and by 2000, there was no smoking in any public facilities. There was just no, you was either all smoking and everybody knew from the outside and it was private, or it was just a non-smoking facility.
Okay.
And I don't know when they officially banned cigarettes from planes. I remember when people started getting the jitters, though, because there's plane flights that are longer than 10 hours. And if you cannot smoke, I mean, smokers were pretty well hung up on it. I don't know if you know this, but they have a certain addictive quality that some people can't shake.
Oh yes, those nicotine things. Oh, 1988 was when they officially banned cigarettes on US domestic flights.
I'm sure international was totally cool.
Yeah.
It would be rough, I think. Most people really got used to just smoking and smoking all the time. My dad actually stopped smoking, I want to say, in his late 30s. I talked to my mother about that because I thought it was for another reason, but it was just because it costs money.
It is expensive.
You go through a carton of cigarettes in a week, and that's a lot of cigarettes, and it's a lot of money. And it just goes up in smoke, literally.
Burning money. Wow.
Well,
Yeah.
it's a thing, but everybody would use it. And I will say I have smoked, and smoking, if you know how to do it, it is very calming because that nicotine hits your system real fast. And you just kind of go, oh, that sense of relief, like you've had a long day and you go home and sit down on the couch and just melt into a puddle. That's the feeling, just in case.
So that Chandler bit from Friends
Yeah.
describes it so accurately.
Probably more so than you would realize. I'm not saying it's cool to smoke, kids, but it is kind of cool to smoke. So, keep that in mind.
Oh my gosh.
Well, and there's always the cool factor. Everybody who smokes a cigarette must be cool.
Obviously.
Not a twitchy, neurotic mess.
I guess when you find your addiction, I feel like that's
Addiction?
too strong of a word.
Nah, it's an addiction.
It becomes an addiction, but it starts off as something first, and I don't know what the right
Well, I
word
presume
for
it
that would
starts off
be.
as a thing to do. Like, oh, if I'm smoking, then I can hang out with these people who are also smoking.
Yeah.
Well, that was actually a friend's thing too. Was it Rachel wanted to hang out with the people who wanted to smoke,
Yes.
and
Yes.
then and then she got them to quit smoking, and then she was stuck pretending to be a smoker when she didn't want to smoke.
Yes.
It's kind of dumb, but it's a socially gathering moment. It's a thing to pull you in. So it is okay. I should probably state this for obvious health reasons. Smoking is bad for you, and you should not do it.
Correct.
But that being said, man, a good cigarette is nice.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. But smoking was the vice, I guess. The thing that people did.
It was the cool vice. Well, it was a cool vice, but it was like a common trope. You mentioned Chandler Bing and the smoking advice he has, and like when he's talking to Joey about, it's the thing that's been missing from your hand. It's like when you watch a cop show and everybody's walking around with a cup of coffee trying to talk about like, oh, you see the killer would have been here and there, and they usually have a cigarette and a cup of coffee, but still, that cup of coffee is like the other thing.
Yeah.
So two vices right in your hands there. But I can tell you right now, coffee ain't so bad either, buddy. So
Okay. Was it like I guess it was a thing that kids would be sneaking around trying to get?
I don't know if they were sneaking around so much. It was kind of like a given.
That
You
kids
you knew,
smoked?
yeah.
I mean,
Like a 14-year-old or a 15-year-old probably smoked.
and this was like accepted in school?
Not in school. Well, no, that's not true. There were people that knew, like, if you saw a kid after school smoking, like, it's just what they do. It's bad, but it was like an accepted bad.
Interesting. That's weird.
It's like they say with you can't drink in public, like drinking drink,
Yeah.
but you could if you put it in a paper bag. Because then it's
Yeah.
like, well, he's drinking from a paper bag, so it's probably just a soda.
In a bag. Yes,
Yeah.
because everyone drinks a soda in a bag.
It's just kind of a we don't worry about that. They go do their own thing. I mean, as a kid myself, my grandmother and dad smoked. My grandfather and my mother did not smoke. It's kind of weird. Because I will admit, if you've ever dated somebody who smokes, you really notice it when you kiss them.
Yeah, it's gross.
It's not preferred. So I guess there is a drawback. Okay, one bad thing, but otherwise it's fine. As a 6-year-old, 8-year-old kid, I got really good at preparing the pack because you had to pull off the wrapper, undo the top, pop out the first cigarette so it's ready to like grab with the mouth, and then ready to lighter. And I would like do all this stuff as a kid, and it was like a juggling trick.
At 6?
Yeah,
6 years old?
you want to be helpful and do stuff, and that's the thing you can
Oh my
do is open
gosh.
up cigarettes.
That's so terrible.
And at 6 or 8, you were pretty much accepted to go to the store and buy cigarettes too,
That's crazy.
because your mom or dad would send you in to get them. I'm like, "Okay, I just need this."
My
And you
goodness.
knew exactly what their brand was, you knew, the type, you knew everything, even though you had no concept of what it was.
That's so crazy. Cause well, growing up where we grew up, it was so funny to just see kids walking around with $100 bills buying fireworks at the fireworks stand. And you're like, you are not old enough to be buying or lighting off these fireworks. Where are your adults? What are you doing? So just to buy, oh my goodness, cigarettes. It's crazy. Going to
Uh,
the grocery store, I understand, but buying cigarettes or even buying alcohol,
it was a time where people would accept like, "Oh, well, you're too young to smoke, so obviously you're buying them for somebody who can't come in.
that's
So that's
so
okay."
crazy.
In some places, you could probably get away with buying alcohol as well. Depends on how rural the community is. I know in a city you probably wouldn't be able to pull that one off, but if they knew who you were, they knew your parents, like, yeah, they weren't going to question it.
Yeah, I guess that's right.
It's just a thing. Like, oh, yeah, it's here for your Just don't worry. Little Tommy's just picking up his mom's heroin, so it's okay.
No, that's terrible. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's awful. So wild.
It's just a different time and a different place because, and I don't know if you know this, that's what you missed when you didn't exist. We got rid of smoking. There is no more smoking now. So, how's a life that's smoke-free, Lucy?
Well, it's just interesting because recently coming out of my college years, in college, whenever I went to parties or tailgates or whatever, everyone that I knew typically didn't smoke. It was something that they're like, ew, gross. Like, I don't really want to smoke right now. But the minute they got super drunk or super wasted, they're like, you know what sounds good? A drunk cigarette. And I'm like, what? You literally just talked about how much you hated smoking. What are you doing? And they're like, no, but the cigarette and the fact that we're sharing it as a community. Oh, it's so nice. I'm like, what are you talking about? I do not partake. That is not my cup of tea. I know my fiance does, Nakoa does, and I tell him if you're going to do that, you need to take a shower, brush your teeth, do some serious mouthwash, and then maybe I'll consider kissing you goodnight. But that's about it. Because it's gross. Like, I'm sorry to people that do smoke, but it's not appealing, I guess. But we're in a new era, so it's different. And I didn't really grow up smelling the cigarette smoke as much because we I don't know. It just wasn't as popular of a vice where we grew up because everyone had vices that you could hide, I guess.
Mhm.
And it wasn't as obvious.
Vices you can hide. Those are the best kind of vices. Mm.
Well, it was, the privilege of growing up where we grew up, and everyone went and partied in Mexico. So you had to get the good cocaine, and that just makes you work the best, obviously. Or you would drink, and that was just, oh, I have a social drink at my luncheon or whatever. So it was, I guess
Yeah.
drinking is more accepted than smoking was. But you also didn't want to ruin the fresh mountain air with cigarette smoke. You wanted to take in the ambiance and the nature.
Well, but now you have digital cigarettes, so
Now we do have digital cigarettes. Vapes are a thing. Vapes were super, super popular for my era, I feel like, because you could hide, it wouldn't smell like cigarettes. It would smell like cotton candy or
bananas or yeah.
mango or something appealing that people did want to inhale, but especially jewels in particular were one little pod for your vape was a whole carton of cigarettes, and people were going through a pack of pods a day. And it was so ridiculous because you only got like maybe 2 or 4 packs or 2 or 4 pods in a pack. And it was crazy. But I was also part of the age right when I turned 18. That was when they said that the smoking age should be bumped up to 21 and not
Mm,
18.
that's true.
So that
Oh
kind
my
of,
gosh, something changed when you existed.
I
That's just
know.
crazy.
You were alive when the drinking age change happened, but I was alive when the smoking age change happened.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Not that I'm saying like you should go out and smoke, which apparently I did earlier in the show, but I don't remember that. It is sort of weird that you now you cannot drink, you cannot smoke, but you can vote
And buy guns.
and you can buy guns and you can go fight for your country.
Yes.
But smoking and drinking, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
Bring it down a notch.
Yeah. I think people aren't smoking in general. I think the vapes have decreased somewhat because most people are trying to quit their nicotine habits. I've seen a transition over to the patches or the gum, specifically the Zins. They're like, it would be like if chewing tobacco instead of being loose in your mouth was a pouch and it just was like there in your mouth. So I've seen those. Switching over to the, I guess it would be, well, it's still expensive.
Well, I presume it's better for you. Well, okay, better for you is a stretch, but but I presume it's better for you just because you're not smoking the carcinogens. That was the main problem with cigarettes. You're
Hmm.
smoking in like burnt stuff. instead
True.
of the vapor, which imposes the nicotine without the bad parts with it.
Yeah, but people were doing research and they found out that the vapes were causing, I think it was like embolisms or something in your lungs because they have
Mhm.
to make the vape juice hot enough to turn into air. And so what was happening was you were ingesting this hot air into your lungs and it was giving people like pneumonia and they would have like not blisters. I want to say embolisms, but I feel like that's wrong.
Well, there was, at least a while back, I don't know if they still exist, there was an alcohol vape system where you could
Yes.
suck alcohol in. The problem with that was people would go into alcohol toxicity because they could not throw it up. Because when you
Yes.
drink, it goes into your stomach, and your
Yes.
stomach goes, "Oh, I can't handle this," so it reverses the system and throws it back out.
Mhm.
But if you smoke it in, then it's in your lungs, and your lungs don't have a reverse.
Yeah.
So that's bad.
Yeah. Kind of weird. Moving down to the city, I feel like I've seen a revival of hookahs, but I maybe it's just because I didn't grow up seeing them. There's a bunch of like hookah bars and hookah lounges are a thing.
So it goes back to the communal thing.
I know it's going back to the community aspect and not like the, oh, I gotta go out for my 10-minute smoke break.
Yeah, I will admit going to a hookah bar is not a 10-minute smoke break.
No, 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 no. And I
Eh,
think the bringing back of marijuana, I think that legalization movement has also brought a different kind of smoking into the mix because you're
that's
still
true.
trying to bring in that relaxation aspect. But I've heard that nicotine gives you the buzz, which I feel like the buzz is more of like a I'm awake slash wired feeling and not like a I'm ready to relax.
No, nicotine's usually pretty relaxing anytime I've ever used it.
I don't know. I don't know. I've heard that. Ooh, I'm buzzed. Like you drink alcohol and it makes you sleepy, and then you have a cigarette to help go. Ooh, I'm awake and I've got the buzz. I
Yeah,
don't
sure.
know though. Have not partaken myself. Have no idea. I think it's bad, but I think people are gonna do what they're gonna do. Smoking's been around probably for centuries. Would be my guess. Let
Well,
me
since
look.
people figured out there was tobacco.
How long has smoking existed? Let's see. 5,000 BC. In the
So a
mid,
little while.
a little while.
I mean, well, I'm sure there was hemp smoking and there was tobacco smoke because tobacco is really an American thing. So they
Yeah,
were probably smoking other stuff. I wasn't smoking in 4000 BC,
it's
so I don't
true.
know.
It began in Central and Mesoamerica, though, South America.
Mm.
And then when Christopher Columbus came over, he brought it back to the Americas, and they said, "Oh my gosh, stuff!"
Doing cool things. I
Obviously.
saw these Central American guys and they were hanging out and they were looking tough and they had this cool look about them. They all had sunglasses and cigarettes, so I brought back the cigarettes and we'll try that first.
Yeah, sunglasses. Psh, who needs them? Save that for the 1920s.
Oh boy. Nah, well, smoking has been around for a while and it's probably gonna I presume smoking will still be around because I don't see cigarettes going away.
No, not by any means. I think it's a cheaper version of smoking now compared to getting vapes because it probably costs about 20 bucks per vape, and the vape
Mm.
is it doesn't last as long depending on how big of a thing you get or whatever cartridge you do. And I feel like the smokes are on the cheaper trend now because people don't really typically like the tobacco smell.
I've noticed in other countries they're starting to require marketing constraints on smoking. So you get like a plain white package that just says this will kill you or something like that.
That's funny.
It's like, hey, in case you didn't know, this is bad. And like pictures of skulls or whatever it is.
That's funny. That's
Like, okay. I mean, yeah, it will. So there's that. I don't know. I'm sure smoking has some good effects. I mean, I will admit the nicotine is very calming to me, but it depends on who you are and what you are.
true.
I like It's like caffeine. Caffeine, like, oh, it's caffeine's all this bad stuff. I was like, yeah, it's kind of good too. Get you going.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times a cup of coffee saved my life.
Again, it's all about the balance. You gotta figure out when too much is too much. Because people also
That's
say
true.
having an apple a day keeps the doctor away, but apparently it can also give you diabetes because of the sugar in it. So, I think it's just finding.
Well, there's arsenic in the seeds of apples too, isn't there?
Yes, but you would need to eat a lot of seeds.
Yeah, you'd have to eat like a dump truck full.
Yeah.
But it's a great example. It's a great example of like a little bit is always a good thing. A lot of it, maybe not so much. People who live to 100 and they're like, oh, I have a glass of wine every day. Like, yeah, well, if you have a bottle of wine every day, you'd probably not care how long you live. So,
Probably, yeah. It's okay. I feel like everyone needs advice. I just feel like you need something to fall back on when everything in the day is terrible and you have nothing, like you think you have nothing going on. You just need that one comfort thing.
well, it's a habit.
Yeah.
You could just as easily go and knit
Yes.
or play a video game or brew your home beer. There's just stuff that people do on their own. You don't have to go smoke for everything. It's just that smoking is a quick and easy fix. And it's kind of like liquor.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, this is why drinking is easy because you just drink and you're done.
Yeah.
You knit, and that's why I brought that up. You have a certain sense of completionism when you finish it.
This
Like,
is
I
true.
finished this thing. I feel you have that dopamine hit, but it took you probably 3 weeks to get to that,
Yeah.
as opposed to playing a level of Angry Birds and like, I've completed this. Now I feel better. Like, great.
Yeah. That's probably shifted a lot too since we've needed to go faster in life, which is why the TikTok attention spans are a thing now. So most of these
Uh,
younger generations are trying to adjust to at least I'm trying to adjust them to a longevity type thing of, okay, we're going to read a book from the beginning of the year till the end of the year and we can finish a book. And they're like, that's going to be so long. I'm like, we'll get there.
mm,
It'll be okay.
all you really have to do, as far as reading goes, is have somebody find the book that appeals to them, and suddenly that's all they want to do is read that book.
True.
But that's the trick, is finding everybody's different, and so everybody needs their own book.
Hmm.
That's the real gimmick there, I guess.
The vices.
Yeah.
Hurrah.
So smoking, that was a thing.
Well, I guess I didn't bring up the fact that I saw it a lot represented in Sex and the City because Carrie's always like the smoking person.
Oh yeah.
And they always bring up that difficulty of her going through life in the later seasons at least. And she's like, what? I can't smoke here. Why can't I smoke here? That kind of thing. But
That's
yeah,
very true.
I guess that's not really relevant now, but it's okay.
No, that's the whole point of what you missed. And for example, this is what you missed when you didn't exist. And you can't smoke there anymore.
No, you can't. Don't do it. It's bad for you.
Knit. Just knit. You'll be fine.